And I was quite actually excited because I met and started working with this man because he tours the United States every year. And I'd see him in Chicago at the time, and I left Chicago and I was moving to Austin. He's like, I don't have anything in Austin. I didn't know if I'd see him again. And last year, the first year I was here, he actually didn't have any shows in Chicago, but he had something in Austin. So I got to see him and perform with him with The Bird in the Hand, one of the poems. I actually went up on stage and performed with him. It was really cool. So yes, I'm doing things about spring.
It's good.
And yay, spring. Which is why I was supposed to say she has chipbooks. And you know, I only have a few because I thought it's rain.
Yeah.
Nobody shows up.
Yes, you're right. That's awesome.
So if you
We're here.
are distributing, I think there's only 4 there. I'm sorry. Well, I guess I might as well just do this for the heck of it.
Can you share it with?
Yes. Go share and see you around.
This is what she'll do.
I don't have a copy of this one, so I'm going to have to read it as I scroll it out here.
Oh, excellent.
This is an old poem of mine called Spring. Spring, hundreds of daffodils in a sunburst of colors, waving back and forth in the gentle breeze that cools everything under the sun. But then there's the sun shining brighter than ever before. The world is waking up after a dormant 6-month sleep.
Yeah.
This is the first morning of a new season.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Beautiful. Yeah.
So I thought I would have new poems that were about things that happened during the spring.
Yeah.
Different things happen at different times of year. So I thought I'd go with some schoolwork, and this one is called Entering the War Room. One spring, while still in college, I was taking a political science class. And really, I used to be an engineer. I could wrap my brain around this stuff easily. But it was cool that the classroom had only one giant table, and all the students sat at it together. In this class, I was with a few friends, and each class was like we were entering a war room, all sitting at the same large table. Well, one day, and I really don't know who started passing a note first, but while the TA was talking, the 3 of us passed notes while paying attention to class. And when the bell rang for this elective, the TA asked for the 3 of us to stay. And once the last student left the room and the door closed, the TA sounded like he became a general, and he put on his most evil face. And he started yelling at the 3 of us that we should never pass notes like that in his class again. And when he was done, my 2 friends rushed to get their books in their bag and rush out of the room. But me, I took my time. I deliberately placed my books, I get from being active, placed my books into my bag one at a time. Took time zipping up and putting the bag over my shoulder long after my friends had already left. Well, I started to walk to the door while the TA was still fuming, and I said, "Have a nice day," before going out the door. I know that in this moment. And the next few weeks of class, I made a point to raise my hand whenever he asked a question, and once I even corrected him, because just because I was passing notes, I knew what I was doing in this elective. And besides, it was spring. I could handle the war room and still enjoy beautiful spring days.
Yeah.
This one is called Sometimes Things Like Jobs Get in the Way in the Springtime.
Yeah.
And this is called A Job That Only Paid the Bills. I told my boyfriend on one spring day that I was quitting my job. Now, this art director supervised maybe 8 people. I was designing 2 magazines. This was a big thing, me quitting my well-paying job that only paid the bills and didn't make me happy. And when the big day came, I opened the window to my 32-story corner office and asked my supervisor to come into my office. The wind whistled through the loop on these downtown streets, and it was always a breathtaking view seeing skyscrapers in the spring. But my supervisor sat down at my desk, and before I could break the news, there was a knock on my door. When I said to come in, the secretary walked in with a dozen roses in a vase as a delivery to me. I said, thank you. And as she closed the door, I looked at my supervisor, but looking at the roses, she already knew the news. I didn't know I'd get roses. It kind of blew my chance of saying I quit. But it was kind of cool to get roses on a spring day for putting in my 2-week notice. At the time, I couldn't think of a better reason to get roses. It was like icing on my liberation cake.
Yeah.
This is what I needed my beer for. It's not real beer, relax. This is called Killing the Survivor Bug. Once springtime came, we went to a bar, got a pitcher of light, fruity beer for the spring weather. But with spring came a whole new fleet of tiny little insects that swarmed the syrupy liquor bottles because they, too, were looking for something sweet. So at one point, I had just pulled a full pint from my sweet, fruity pitcher of beer, and it was just sitting there. And that's when I noticed that a bug was at the top of my beer. Apparently he was thirsty too, but he just flew in there, and I thought, just get him out, place him on the bar and see if he'll live. And so he placed the bug onto his finger, and he moved it to the bar, and he let the beer and his finger glide the bug to the bar, and then we waited. And not 10 seconds later, the bug just moved out of the water, and I screamed, "He's the survivor bug!" Before the bug got enough energy together to fly away. And this is such a frivolous thing, but I mean, it's spring. It's time to celebrate.
Yeah.
Think of it as life anew, and we laughed and enjoy our beer because I'm sure the alcohol would kill any germs from that little bug. And so we went back to socializing. But at one point, I look up and I see him swatting at a bug and killing it dead. I stared for a second. "Did you just kill the survivor bug?" I asked. And suddenly, swatting one bug suddenly made him feel like he just used friendly fire to kill one of his brothers in arms. And after that, if we ever saw a bug in our beer, we'd suddenly act like Mother Teresa. Because after that one spring day, we somehow understood how precious all life could be.
Yay!
Tulips. This is a poem that I wrote a while ago with a friend of mine. Some of this is me, some of this is him. And it is called Springtime, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. Chapbook, hi. I feel the cool breeze as the condensation of night falls on my lips as the days grow longer, and I feel the excitement of your eternal kiss. My senses are heightened. Is it this night? Is it your touch? Is it your voice that shouts reason in the face of love for a question of lust by the tree on the hill? I know what follows. Springtime, the heat of summer, the coolness of fall, the desolation of winter. Is this forbidden isolation all that is left amidst the terror of loss? Does the tulip get tired of dying when the seasons change? Are we meant to die too? Is this meant to die too? The changing tides of reason forbid us to see the true path of destiny. We are blindfolded by what we think is truth and follow our own path to destruction. If things don't grow, they die. This is the lesson we learn as children. This is the lesson of the daffodils and the lilies of the valley and the jonquils. And so it is with you and I. The true path to learning comes after death, when you and I are together again.
Whoa.
And this, one, maybe two people here have heard before, because I got to read it at Half Price Books. This is my intro.
Yay!
There's 3 of us that heard it.
Oh, three of you. Yes, you are correct, sir. Yes, you are correct. No. This one is called Original Snowbird. I'd like to tell you a story about a bird. Let's just fair to say that this is the original snowbird. In Hawaii, the kolea is the Pacific golden plover. These foraging birds hang out in Hawaii until it is spring, after they've fattened up for their over 2,000-mile non-stop flights to Alaska. And they have no waterproofing on their feathers, so they don't rest, but fly for 3 days straight. And fossils found on Oahu even reveal that plovers have done this for 120,000 years. Because in the spring, they fly up north, and these birds spend 3 months in Alaska. They reclaim their last year's breeding grounds and incubate eggs, hatching in 25 days. Mama and daddy bird leave the nest just after the last chick is born, and predators like foxes, jaegers, and caribou force the chicks to leave the nest. In barely a month, the chicks can then fly, come August, which is when the parents then leave. Now, these adult plovers eat like mad, gain 50% of their body fat, so they have fuel for the 3-day flight, over 2,000 miles to their Hawaiian home. Yeah, you heard me right. Every spring, these Pacific golden plovers, after bulking up for their 3-day nonstop flight, they fly up north and lose 50% of their body mass doing it. And right after their babies are ready to fly, and they've bulked up again once more, they leave their babies to fend for themselves. Because these little ones can't make the flight, they don't have the bulk to make the trip, and they never even learn how to navigate. With Alaskan summers, they'll never see stars, or even a night sky at all, until they fly south. Maybe baby plovers use Earth's magnetic field, because it is a miracle when they actually do reach Hawaii. But I've heard that when they return, they arrive in Hawaii at the exact same spot, year after year, for up to 20 years. Wow. And annually, they are welcomed by the natives. We think we understand the seasons, but in Hawaii, they mark the seasons by the coming and going of the kolea. That's the Hawaiian word that mimics the sounds of the Pacific golden plovers, the parents and their babies, because they mark the passage of time.
Yeah!
Yes, I ran a poetry open mic in Chicago for years, and this isn't the same, but sometimes we'd always have, open mic and a feature, and people would read 3 poems or whatever, but sometimes a feature wouldn't show up. So I'd say, hey, look at you, it's mini feature night. Everybody can have a 10-minute set and do something like that. So I am thrilled and honored that Actually, the first chance I have for actually hosting something here is at Half Price Books, and it's a 2-hour spot. I know some people are like, well, you know, I have a job. I get it. But if you'd like to come, you are welcome to have a feature space and be a performer there. Any topic is fine. I was thinking, because it's World Poetry Day, just because it's World Poetry Day, I might do something about things globally or dealing with things on the other side of the world, or, you know, but, you know, who knows? You know, love themes are totally perfect. They're on target all the time. Or if people have angry political rants, which I'm sure some of you might, that's totally fine as well. Because that also talks about things globally when you were talking about things politically in this nation. So if anybody would like to do that, I am going to set up, because I saved it for after tonight, tomorrow morning I will set up an event listing. If I don't see you on it through Facebook, my man Tom will share this with everyone and everything, and that would be wonderful. And that's all I can think of right now.